Hello everybody. If you're a regular subscriber to my channel, you know this is the no editing channel. What this is going to be is my first attempt at a poor man digitizing of old astronomy slides. These pictures were all taken with slide film from 1997 until about 2000 and maybe 2003, I'm not sure. Okay. I used to travel all over Minnesota showing the slideshow as a backup when I was an astronomy speaker at state parks and things. Backup for if the clouds rolled in and ruined a stargazing session, I could still show people the night sky on these slides. Now, you're like, okay, but we're just looking at a blank screen. I know. I would start out the day, the show, by having everybody in the room, a fully lit room, stare at the nearest light to dazzle their eyes. There's already a picture on this screen that the camera's pointing at, but you're not seeing very much. If you look very carefully, you might see a couple of things. Okay? You might see something right about there. But that's about it. Okay? Now, I have to walk to the back of my classroom, and I'm going to turn off two light switches. Watch the information your eye begins to pick up change as it gets dark. That picture was there the whole time. Now, what the slideshow is going to show you is some of the wonders that your eye is capable of, and some of the things that cameras, either film or digital, how they have advantages over eyes because they can make things brighter. You can stare at this picture as long as you want. You're not going to see any more detail than you're seeing now. This is a picture I had my wife help me take. I'm standing on the back of my truck pickup, and she posed me so that it looked like that comet Hale-Bopp, 1997, so that it looks like it's coming out of my hand. And during that shot, I had her turn a flashlight on just barely and wave it across me very quickly so you can see a little bit of face and hand. Otherwise, I'm just a black silhouette. Okay? Now, if you try to take pictures at night, you're dealing with lower light levels, obviously, and things are challenging. Okay? So this was a group astronomy night when we went out to, I believe, see the comet, but where there's a little bit of moonlight, and look what happened. Okay? That's a group photo. I had them pose for this. They're smiling. That's using only moonlight. So, here's another problem when you take pictures at night. If you take pictures at night and you let the camera stare at the sky longer to capture more light to build up a brighter picture, the world turning makes the stars look like they moved. Notice the one star in the middle, Polaris, that doesn't seem to move very much. Okay? This was taken out of the state park, Myrie Big Island State Park. All right, now, seemingly I have everything fixed. The stars are nice and round. The sky's dark. Notice something's wrong with these stars. Look carefully. These are all dead stars. They're all fake. This is my son's bedroom. I painted just random stars with glow-in-the-dark paint to see if I could fool you. Okay? This is a real sky. Back in college, my wife signed up for an astronomy class knowing I would be of great assistance, and one of the projects she picked was taking constellation slides. This is a 5-minute picture. The camera's on for 5 minutes, and yet the stars are round because we have a little motor moving the camera at the same speed the world turns. So look carefully, you should recognize something there. Now, I'm sorry how bright my laser pointer is, but I don't know how to make it dimmer and still be sharp. You should see the Big Dipper here. Here's the handle. Here's the part that holds the water. Look carefully, there's a double star there. Okay? That's the Big Dipper. Notice the trees down here on the bottom are seem like they're smudged. It's because the camera was following the stars, and that makes the trees look like they moved. You had to choose between the world or the sky, and we chose the sky. All right, here's a shot of the Little Dipper, which isn't that little, but it's a lot smaller than the Big Dipper. Here's Polaris, the North Star, the backwards bent handle, and the part that holds the water. From town, you'll see the North Star and these two stars, and these are almost impossible in town with all the streetlights. Okay, now this is a 1 minute shot. Okay, the motor drive is turning the camera, so we have round stars. Look for this W shape. Supposedly this is a queen sitting on a throne. The way I see her, she's like, this is a sideways view. Maybe it's like a lazy boy kind of chair thing, but it's this W shape. 1 minute shot. Check this out. Same night, same camera, same motor. 5 minutes. Look at what happens when you let a camera stare at the sky longer. You get so much more information. It's kind of hard to see. The same W is still there. Everything was the same except there's 5 times more starlight stored on the film. You can see all kinds of star clusters. Look at the variety of brightnesses, and hopefully this camera's picking up the variety of star colors. Okay, here's a little star cluster here. There's all kinds of stuff in this picture. Okay, here's a 1 minute shot of Cygnus the Swan. Hopefully it'll show up here. You can also see a cross shape. Okay, here's the head of the swan and the long neck. Here's part of the wing. There's a wingtip star over here that you can't see, it's too far out. And here's the other wing, and the other wingtip would be over here, and there's a stubby tail. I have it oriented this way because it's also known as the Northern Cross. Here's the cross. Okay. Now that's a 1 minute shot. Brace yourself. What do you think you're going to see? Same night, same camera, same everything. 5 minutes. Get ready. Boom. Milky Way. Look at all those stars. And I hope the camera is able to pick up, like here's a perfect little coat hanger right here. That little shape right there. That's its official nickname is the coat hanger. Okay. Look at all those stars. You can see a faint pink. That's some background hydrogen. If you see pink or red in these shots, it's hydrogen. Speaking of pink and red, there's the Lagoon Nebula. Here's the Trifid Nebula. Here is the Swan Nebula, and here's the Eagle Nebula. There's all kinds of stuff in this picture. Here's a star cluster, star cloud. Here's a star cluster for probably like 500,000 stars right there. There's something on here that isn't supposed to be there too. That's the planet Jupiter. And trust me, if you got the camera closer, which I'm not going to bump my camera, we actually picked up Jupiter's moons. I was very impressed when I saw that on this, that it pulled in Jupiter's moons. All right. Now, I have to tell you a story about telling stories. The ancient people had little kids that needed bedtime stories. Okay? They didn't have much for books. They didn't have TV. They didn't have lights. When it got dark, it got dark. So they would tell them stories with connect the dots shapes in the sky, and we still have them today. And these stories, depending on the age of your audience, you could have PG stories or R-rated stories. Okay, if you had the little kids, you tell them G-rated stories and adventure stories and stuff like that. This is everybody's favorite character in the mythology. This is Hercules. Okay, there's a human figure here. There's his head, shoulder, hip, knee, foot. The other knee's here, his other leg's down here. It's a 3D kind of pose. He's showing off. He's got this arm up here is holding the skin of a lion he killed with his bare hands. Remember, he's known for his strength. There's a very, very, very famous star cluster right here in his armpit. The Great Globular Cluster in Hercules. You should look it up. That was a 5-minute shot. All right. Here is a very small, realistic constellation that's kind of lost in the Milky Way. This is the 5th brightest star in the sky, Vega, and it's in a constellation, a really small one. Okay, all it is this triangle touching this parallelogram. It was a small, old-fashioned harp you held on your lap called a lyre, L-Y-R-E. The constellation is called Lyra. Okay, so not all constellations are big and fancy like Hercules. This is a small one. Okay, there are 88 constellations in the sky. Many of them are quite hard to see, just because they're so random. Okay, now this is a realistic constellation. It's not very bright. This is Corona the Crown. Just this, like a sea lying on its back. Okay, that's a 5-minute shot. Okay, my wife, for her project, had to get a certain number of constellations, and she wasn't willing to stay up all night, so she took some really small ones like this one. It's called Triangulum. All it is a drafting triangle, these 3 stars. She got credit for another constellation. All right, this is a neat one. Now, I'm going to take a second here to walk back to my light switches and turn on a little bit of light to get rid of some of the extra information. This is the twin brothers, Gemini. Okay, I'm going to go turn the lights on. At first glance, you won't see much. Trust me, this is super, super realistic. You have to picture twin brothers who love each other. They're standing next to each other. Their arms are over each other's shoulders, okay? Castor and Pollux are their names. That's the head of one brother here. And there's a neck and an arm going out this way. Now here's his torso. There's his hip. Sorry, that's his waist. Outside knee, outside leg, outside foot down here. Back to his waist, inside knee, inside foot. Okay, this brother, here's an arm going out this way. Now, his torso is much fainter. Okay, now, here's an inside leg right here, and his outside leg and knee and outstretched foot. Okay, trust me, that's pretty good to get 2 human figures. Okay, the only thing you really don't have is the arms you would lose behind each other's back. So you've got 4 legs and 2 arms and 2 heads. That's pretty good. Okay, that's a 5-minute shot, and I'm going to turn the lights back off. All right, here's a shepherd. I don't see a very good shepherd here, but it's a very easily recognized constellation. This is Capella, the brightest star that never leaves Albert Lee's sky. There's a pentagon shape here, a stretched pentagon. It's a shepherd carrying 2 baby goats on his shoulder. These 3 stars are called the kids. Trust me, it takes some imagination. That's a beautiful chunk of winter Milky Way there, all those stars. That's a 5-minute shot. All right, ignore the red. That was an unfortunate opening the camera when there's still film inside. But here's a beautiful star cluster called the Beehive, and this is the constellation of Cancer, the crab. That is a neat, neat, neat star cluster. Okay. All right. Here's Leo the lion. Now, picture a lion, relaxed but awake and alert. Okay. Okay. Think the Sphinx pose. Here's the tip of his nose. Here's his face. Here's his head. Here's his neck. Okay. Here's his chest. Front leg out in front of him. Back up here. Here's his spine. Here's his haunches. This would be his belly. Now, there's no stars out here for a tail, but they're way over off the screen would be a little clump of stars way over this way. That would be a tuft of hair at the tip of his tail. This is Leo the Lion. Very realistic constellation. Okay. If you ever see one of my star maps, a lot of kids will say, I see a dead mouse. And it's a pretty realistic dead mouse. Here's his nose, here's his head, here's his back, here's his belly, here's a back legs on the ground, here's his rear end, and here's a stiff little curled up dead mousy tail. Anyway. Okay. This is a tough dude. Ask me how tough. How tough? So tough he's chasing bears. They're running away from him. This is Boötus, and this is Arcturus. That's the star Arcturus. I really see, there's kind of a human here, but you can make a waist here and shoulder here, head. Look, modern people see the ice cream cone, the pointy ice cream cone. There's the ice cream. Some people see a kite. It's hard to see a guy chasing bears. All right, here's a good one. Okay, the star Aldebaran means the follower. That's Aldebaran. Okay, now, depending on the age of the audience who's getting to hear the mythology stories, sometimes the stories will get a little bit racier. You would not tell this story that I'm going to tell you to little kids. You'd make sure they'd gone to bed. Okay. Here are 7 beautiful sisters called the Pleiades. Okay? That's a star cluster every culture in the world noticed and made stories about because it's very, very eye-catching. Very, very beautiful. In the stories, they're almost always beautiful sisters. Okay. Here comes the PG-13 version. They were minding their own business, being beautiful sisters. They had different talents. They're musically gifted. And one day they had the misfortune of being spotted by a very, very, very lonely guy who decides he's going to have them. Yeah, have them. He's chasing them. They're running away scared. They should be. Okay. Notice this shape down here. It's shaped sort of like a chicken drumstick. Okay. Hold that thought. See this V right here with Aldebaran at the tip of it? So in the stories, the girls cried to the gods for help because they knew they were about to get raped. I said raped, yes. And the gods looked down and realized they were in deep trouble and gave the girls a guard bull. This is the V of the horns of a charging bull. There's a great big, impossible to see constellation of a bull down here, but everybody can see the horns. Now, remember that drumstick shape? That's the club of the guy who wants to rape them, getting ready to smack the bull on the nose. Okay? So he's constantly chasing the girls across the sky, and the bull is always protecting them. Okay? Now, you're going to be surprised at who the guy chasing the girls is, because you always thought he was a nice guy. It's him. Orion the Hunter. Here is the drumstick shape. Some maps will draw this as a sword, or a club, or a bow. Okay, that's the drumstick shape. Right off here is the V of the horns of Taurus the bull, the guard bull. All right. Now, this is one of the best constellations of the sky, one of the brightest constellations of the sky. It has some of the neatest stuff to see in the sky. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's his head. Here's his shoulder. Here's his shoulder. Here's his waist. Here's his sword belt. Okay, like the sheath for a sword right there. Here's a foot, and here's a foot. And you've heard of many of these things in this star picture. This is the star Betelgeuse. There's a ghost cartoon and movie about him. Harry Potter uses this star for a character Bellatrix. The Men in Black uses this Orion's belt. And this star Rigel is the star I named my son after. This is the very, very famous Orion Nebula. Notice the pink. You're going to see that pink as a brighter red in some other photos. Okay? That's a 5-minute shot. Okay, here's Orion's hunting dog, following his master faithfully. Once you see this dog, you'll be impressed. This is a realistic dog. Here's the tip of his nose up here, and his head and neck. And some people make this be his heart. I like to make it his collar. Okay, so nose, head, neck, chest, front legs. Now think about a hunting dog, old school hunting dog, when a lot of times the animal you wanted to have for supper was out of range of your bow or spear. You'd stick your dogs on them and they could run and run and run, because people had bred dogs, different hounds, to have long legs and great big chests and hearts. So here's the backbone, great big chest and front legs, little skinny rear end and back leg and tail. So think like greyhound, okay? Animals, dogs that were bred to run animals till they couldn't run anymore, okay? So nose, head, neck, chest, front leg. Here's the belly, back of the dog, leg, and tail. There's a star cluster right there. All right. This is the constellation Perseus, but everybody notices this. First, when we saw this picture, we thought it was an airplane, but it's not. That's a satellite. That's a satellite that was spinning very quickly, and it had one very shiny side. I would guess is maybe solar panels. And we spin satellites for the same reason we spin bullets and footballs and arrows. It makes them not wobble, and they go where they're supposed to go. Okay? Now, so because I had a satellite, I did want to get an airplane so you could see the difference. Okay, I took this picture on purpose when I saw the airplane getting close. This is Mars. I don't know what stars these are, I don't care. But if you look, you'll see white, red, white, white, red, white, red, white, white, red. That's an airplane. Okay. All right, this is a cool shot. Okay, I lucked out on this one. This is Hale-Bopp, that famous comet from 1997, one of the greatest comets of all time. And when I took this picture and I got it back, I was all excited because I got a meteor. Except when I looked at my notes, I said, oh man, that's a satellite. Rats, I already have a satellite. I always wanted to get a meteor, and I was grumping about it. And I was actually showing this slide to a group of strangers at a state park, and I was being the human pointer. And right there in front of all these strangers, I totally lost it, flipped out, because I got a meteor right there by accident that I had never seen until I was right next to the screen. So here is a piece of dirty ice, probably the size of a county, vaporizing in the radiation from the sun, millions of miles away. Here is a tiny piece of space junk, probably the size of a grain of sand, vaporizing about 50 miles up. And here is a piece of space hardware or space junk, probably, I don't know, 200 miles up, 300 miles up, all in one picture. That's just luck. All right. Now, there were nights when I took a camera out, but I didn't have a motor, so I knew the stars would be streaked, but I was trying to catch Leonid meteors. And on this shot, if you see, there's one right there, and there's one right there. Notice the very, very bright pink. That's the Orion Nebula. If you see Orion again, here is Betelgeuse, Bellatrix. There's head, shoulder, waist, sword, foot. There's, okay, if you look very, very carefully, there's hydrogen over here glowing, hydrogen up there glowing. But I really wanted to get the meteors. Notice the star color. Look how orange Betelgeuse is. Okay. There's blue stars on here, yellow. Okay. This is another shot the same night, and I got one meteor. See if you can spot it. Hopefully it shows up on this video. We'll see. Okay. We're looking at Orion again, and there's the meteor I got. There's the Orion Nebula. Look how pink that is. If you have very good eyesight, and if this camera's doing its job, you can see a faint pink glow here and a faint pink. That's called Bernard's loop. That's a big curve of hydrogen from a star that blew up somewhere over here. This is like a smoke ring of hydrogen. Okay, we're almost done. All right, this was a shot that we thought was a failure. This is the front end of Leo the Lion. Okay, and there's Jupiter. And we took a picture of this night. We used a whole roll of film trying to get meteors, and we didn't get any of them. You can see the moon. There was moonlight, and there were clouds. The sky was just milky. And this slide almost went in the garbage before I noticed something special on this picture. See if you can notice the one thing that isn't smudged by the world turning. Can you see it? It's right there. That's a meteor coming right at the camera. That's a cool shot. That's hard to get. It just burned up 50 miles over our head, coming right at us. All right, we're almost done. This is a sunset shot of Hale-Bopp, the comet. There's the Seven Sisters. Their guard bulls hiding here behind the trees. There's another neat shot a little bit later. If you look very, very carefully, you'll see faint blue tail here, bright yellow tail here. Okay. I think that's the California Nebula right there, a faint red arc. I think that's what that is. All right. I was done. I was tired. I was headed home. I shot a bunch of film, a bunch of slides of Hale-Bopp. As I came back into town by Fountain Lake, I couldn't believe how calm the water was. There hadn't been any wind all day. And I knew I had to take this picture. Look at what you got here. Obviously you got the comet, you got the Seven Sisters, and the park, Edgewater Park. But look at what else you have. A very good reflection of Edgewater Park and the Seven Sisters reflected as round stars. That water was practically frozen. It was so still. And there's the comet. That's a neat shot. All right. The next picture, tell yourself it was night. Okay, ready? It was night. This is why you don't take astronomy pictures from town. My dog got me up because she had to go out. She was an old dog, and when they say they have to go out, they aren't kidding. Otherwise, you have a mess in the morning. So I woke up to put her outside, take care of business, and went, oh man, look how clear it is. I wonder what the comet would look like from here. So it was supposedly a dark yard, but look at what the street lights bouncing off the snow and the white car and the backboard. There's a street light over here. This is why you don't stargaze from town. Now, this next shot is the same length of time. This was a 1 minute shot, I think. Same film, same camera. Look at the difference. Here's a city. Let me get right here. And here's country. This is why you stargaze in the country. Now you can see the blue tail. We're almost done. I think this is my best Hale-Bopp shot. I have this blown up and framed in my living room. I actually got a note back from the stranger who processed my slides and said, these are some of the best ones we've seen. And I was proud of that because I was just learning how to do this. Okay, this might be the last one. Let me see. I don't know. That's a pretty one. It's got the sunset, Seven Sisters, guard bowl. A lot of people like this because of the clouds. All right, we're almost done. Yep, this is the last one. All right. I was flattered to be asked to come speak. I'm going to try to focus this a little bit. At a mother-daughter banquet at the church that's across the street from Southwest Middle School. And it was the spring when Hale-Bopp was getting everybody's attention. And so I made the theme of the talk be this comet. I took this picture so I could show it to them. I was very honored that they invited me to come speak about it. As it turns out, I miscalculated at how bright the lights were that light up Southwest. It's just way too much light bouncing off the church and the trees and everything. But I'll take this picture again when the comet comes back. Or maybe not. It will be back in 4,000 years. So probably not. Okay? So I'm going to end that here. That's 29 minutes already. This is going to be a long video.